Welcome to the Valuation Board, everyone. I am stepping in today as your managing director, and we are about to enter a highly intense, fast-paced Silicon Valley pitch stage. Today, we're decoding what is essentially the ultimate investment brief, the Cambridge Arabic 9680 Paper 4 marking bands. But listen, the strategies we are going over today, they are universally applicable across the entire Cambridge spectrum, whether you're hacking exams at IGCSE, O-levels, AS, or full A-levels. I want you to completely shift your mindset right now. Think of your exam paper as a startup pitch. The examiners, they're the venture capitalists. They are holding the ultimate funding, which is your final grade. If you want to secure top-tier funding and absolutely maximize your academic equity, you need to understand exactly what the board is looking for under the hood. You can't just walk in and wing it. You need a highly calibrated, metrics-focused execution plan. So grab your notes, get locked in, and let's dive into this to completely re-engineer your approach and secure maximum yield on your next exam asset. Okay, so let's start with the million-dollar question. Why do most candidates completely lose their valuation margin on paper 4? I mean, every single year, thousands of highly capable, smart students walk into that exam hall. They sit down, the digital countdown clock in their head starts ticking, and they proceed to build their essay pitches entirely on raw facts without a cohesive analytical strategy. They essentially just dump unorganized data onto the page, hoping something sticks. And what happens? Their overall grade valuation just absolutely crashes on the real-time market risk chart. They leave so many easy marks on the table because they treat the exam like a simple memory test instead of what it really is, a highly strategic, high-stakes pitch. They're throwing features at the wall without telling the investors why those features matter. We are going to fix that logic flaw today so you never, ever lose that academic equity again. Section 1, the Market Opportunity Brief. We're looking at the 1819 Thoroughly Solid Mark Scheme, the ultimate brief dictating assessment parameters. Let's break it down. Now, what is really fascinating about this specific breakdown is how it isolates the exact core metrics that the examiners are tracking on their end. These are your assessment objectives, commonly known as AOs. The official Cambridge documentation clearly states that these AOs target very distinct cognitive domains. We're talking about knowledge and understanding, which is your AO1, analysis, your AO2, and evaluation, your AO3. Think of these as the 3 non-negotiable phases of your startup's growth. Successful candidates demonstrate extreme competence across all 3 of these domains. If you only show knowledge, meaning you're just defining terms and listing textbook facts, you're basically only pitching a baseline minimum viable product. It's just AO1. The investors aren't impressed. Securing venture-level top-band marks demands that you push way beyond just knowing the material. You literally have to analyze the data, show how it works in the real world, and then evaluate its worth against alternative options. That triad, knowledge, analysis, evaluation, that is the architecture of a million-dollar pitch. And this comparison right here brilliantly illustrates where so many drifting pitches go entirely wrong. We actually see 2 distinct types of failing founders on the exam stage all the time. First up, we have who I like to call Founder Alex. Alex is your highly technical developer type who delivers a purely descriptive pitch. This is just a massive data dump of textbook definitions, raw code infrastructure, and isolated facts. Alex has 0 business monetization strategy, meaning there is absolutely 0 AO3 evaluation happening. It's all just what is it, and no why does it matter. Then on the other end of the spectrum, we have Founder Sam. Now, Sam is a charismatic marketer. Sam delivers an unsupported pitch. Sam is highly persuasive, writes beautifully flowing sentences, but brings literally 0 metric backing to the table. The essay completely misses the command word constraints and lacks any direct evidence from the source material. It's all fluff. To get that examiner buy-in, you cannot be an Alex, and you certainly cannot be a Sam. You need the hard facts, yes, but you must pair them with highly targeted metrics and deep analytical frameworks to prove your valuation. Moving into Section 2, Core Theoretical Foundations. Let's look at the actual theoretical architecture you need to scale a mid-tier answer into a top-band A-star asset. According to the 1819 Thoroughly Solid Framework, the academic benchmarks required by Cambridge demand a logical, strictly structured framework. The conceptual architecture here draws heavily on systematic analysis and evidence-based reasoning. So, the absolute most crucial point I need you to understand is this. The assessment framework prioritizes analytical depth over superficial breadth. I really want to repeat that because it is quite literally your golden rule for this explainer. Analytical depth over superficial breadth. The examiners, your VC investors, do not want a mile-wide, inch-deep list of 50 different things you kind of know. They don't want a laundry list of raw features. They want you to select a few highly relevant pieces of evidence and drill down so deep into them using logical, evidence-based reasoning that your argument becomes unassailable. You pick the highest value trend and you exploit it to its absolute maximum valuation. Section 3. building the procedural framework. Let's step into the tech war room right now and engineer your minimum viable product paragraph architecture. The official examiner documents actually outline a highly systematic processing sequence that you have to follow. If you want to scoop up those critical method marks, you absolutely must process the raw exam data systematically through these 5 exact steps. Step 1. Identify key elements. This means you deconstruct the question and extract the most relevant data right out of the stimulus materials. Step 2. Apply relevant principles. This is where you select your analytical framework to match the specific command word. Step 3, execute the analysis with crystal clear notation. Step 4, verify your results against the initial constraints. And finally, Step 5, present your information using appropriate formats, proper headings, and clean annotation. What is incredibly fascinating about this method mark strategy is that examiners actually award you capitals simply for processing the data systematically. Think about it. Even if your final conclusion has a slight bug in it, executing this rigorous procedural logic flow guarantees that you secure crucial academic equity along the way. You get funded just for having the right operational systems in place. Okay, valuation hold. We are pausing the pitch clock right here. Before we jump back into the war room to unlock the final paragraph architecture to scale your ultimate grade, you need to optimize your educational asset flow right now. Take 1 second to subscribe to Ace the Exams at the handle @Ace the Exams. Turn on all notifications, hit that bell, so you never miss our weekly high-yield strategy drops. Whether you are hacking your way through IGCSEs, scaling up to O levels, or navigating the deep waters of AS and A levels, we are dropping the exact insider analytics you need to dominate. So secure your channel assets, hit subscribe, and let's get back into the boardroom. We've got a pitch to finish. Section 4, Conducting the Liability Audit. It is time to pivot and analyze the primary market risks by auditing the principal examiner reports for severe student compliance liabilities. I really want you to look closely at this. This is an exact quote pulled straight from the examiner alert in the principal examiner reports. It reads, "Candidates consistently confuse key terminology. Always define terms before using them in extended responses." Now, this isn't just a suggestion. This is a stark, flashing red warning light. If you use a high-level technical term in your essay, but you fail to define it up front, the examiner immediately assumes you are just a founder Sam throwing empty buzzwords into your pitch to sound smart. It creates a massive terminology bug, and your entire logic flow crashes right there in the middle of the paragraph. The valuation meter drops. Always establish your precise definitions at the very start of your paragraph to secure your asset base before you attempt to build complex analysis on top of it. Now, beyond just terminology bugs, our audit of the examiner reports revealed the top 3 compliant liabilities that absolutely bankrupt student valuations every single series. Let's do a quick live audit. Number 1, candidates consistently confuse cause and effect. They mix up the initial trigger with the final result, totally reversing the logic flow. It's a huge red flag for the valuation board. Number 2, forgetting format and presentation checks. Remember that 5-step procedural framework we just covered? Presentation actually matters. If the question demands a specific format and you ignore it, you bleed equity. And number 3, which is frankly the biggest momentum killer of them all, producing answers that are not specific to the context given. If the stimulus material gives you a highly specific case study or data set, you must anchor every single sentence of your answer in that exact context. Pumping out generic memorized textbook answers will only ever yield generic low-tier funding. Context is everything. Moving to Section 5, Maximizing Critical Evaluation. This is it. This is how we lock in elite examiner insights for the final Series A funding round and secure that A star. This slide brilliantly illustrates exactly what high-tariff critical evaluation looks like, according to Cambridge's strict parameters. Evaluating the quality of evidence requires you to build your pitch on 4 distinct pillars. First, you must explicitly identify limitations in the data or the stimulus argument. Nothing is perfect. Show them you know that. Second, you have to assess the assumptions being made. Ask yourself, what is the author of this data taking for granted? Third, you must provide alternative interpretations. Is there a completely different angle to look at this market trend? And fourth, you have to measure the effect of these variables on your final overarching conclusions. Top-tier, maximum valuation marks are only unlocked when you weigh these alternatives and assumptions against each other. This is how you prove to the board that you don't just memorize information, but that you possess a truly elite analytical mind capable of risk assessment. Let's look at a direct visual contrast so you can see exactly how this plays out in the war room. A descriptive framework is incredibly low tier. It's founder Alex all over again. It just summarizes what happened. For example, sales went up because of the new marketing campaign. Boom, flat, boring. But An evaluative framework, that is top tier. It takes that data, weighs the evidence, justifies its strategic recommendations, and secures maximum examiner buy-in. It sounds more like this. Sales increased following the campaign. However, assuming this upward trend will continue ignores the critical limitation of a rapidly shrinking target demographic, leading to the alternative interpretation that the current operational strategy is actually financially unsustainable long-term. Do you see the massive difference there? The evaluative framework owns the data. It manipulates it using the Peel structure, point, evidence, evaluation, link, to form a compelling, absolutely bulletproof pitch. Now, to ensure you can execute this flawless logic flow under intense pressure when the digital countdown clock is ticking in the exam hall, we have distilled the examiner's methodology into a quick, ruthless 3-step compliance matrix. First, your exam strategy is to deconstruct the question. Your execution rule is to strictly extract only the relevant data from the texts and tables. Don't summarize everything. Second, select your analytical framework and execute it with clear, precise notation. Show your work, show your logic. Third, verify and present, constantly ensuring you use correct terminology and strict formatting. This compliance matrix ensures you engineer a perfectly balanced, high-scoring response block every single time you put your pen to the paper. It is your structural safety net. When you apply this systematic processing sequence, when you ruthlessly audit out those primary liabilities, and when you push your analysis all the way up into the evaluative tier using our matrix, this right here is your target. 100% on the grade valuation meter. This number represents the ultimate thoroughly solid, fully evaluated exam asset. The incredible truth is that the examiners actually want to give you these marks. They are sitting there wanting to fully fund your pitch. You just have to present them with the logical, structured, and critically evaluated evidence that they are legally bound by the mark scheme to reward. You hit the metrics, you get the equity. It is that simple. You now have the exact architectural blueprint to optimize your performance, eliminate system bugs, and secure top-tier funding on Paper 4 and beyond. I want you to subscribe to @AceTheExams right this second, smash that notification bell for our weekly grade masterclasses, and get down into the comments section below to tell me exactly which Cambridge subject and level, whether it's IGCSE, O-Level, AS, or A-Level, you are preparing to conquer next. Ultimately, your choice comes down to this. Will you walk into your next exam pitching raw, descriptive, low-tier data like everyone else, or will you command the room with an evaluative, unassailable, top-tier strategy? The board is waiting for your pitch. Make it count.